morning, guys. Second and last day here fishing with Dan Ponciano for striped bass. And like I was saying earlier, by no means am I an expert in the striped bass fishing world. Not even what I'd consider a good striped bass fisherman. But what I am is just a good overall fisherman. I'm able to figure things out pretty quickly. Today and yesterday we're keeping it really simple, just using two different techniques here. In these morning hours we're throwing some swim baits, some of our 4.5-inch swim baits. I'll show you how to rig those here in a little bit. And then we're also bouncing some minnows out of the back, which is a live bait presentation. And we'll show you how to rig that as well. But those two rigs are probably two of the easiest rigs and techniques you could utilize when fishing striped bass. So if you're just getting started in striped bass fishing, you don't want to pay attention, because this is like striped bass 101. And we're going to learn together. So if you want to learn more about striped bass, you want to learn more about fishing and fishing with kids, push that subscribe button.
Another one right here, boys. Just check these guys. That one might be into this other line. Let's go over the top finger. There we go. Yeah, this is a good fish here. I can't see that line. Lift your line up just a little bit. Oh, finger. Yeah. Hey, book, man. That'll fall into that.
You know, people always talk about striped bass, and when that sun comes up, it's kind of a magic hour, but holy cow. There's fish jumping everywhere. We had swim baits going. We had bait rods going. There's like game. So let's see if we can find some more out of there. Keep going, buddy. Keep going. Keep on reeling. Nice. That might be a fish taco right there. That's close. Check that swim bait out, man. You think you like that one? He inhaled that thing. We had a bunch of jumpers out there, so I'm literally casting onto that ledge, that faster current, and retrieving pretty steady and making them chase it a little bit. Whereas last time it was a really slow retrieval that they wanted. They seem to be a little more active, and so we're just making them chase. It's a swim bait bite this morning. Coming, Austin! Oh boy. That's the little guy. That's all right. Austin's got a fish. That same swim bait, man. I'll tell you what. Not a fish top. Yeah.
Can I use that swim bait?
You want to use this swim bait? Yeah, you got to throw it way out there, okay? How far back are you, Austin? Look, right out there. Okay, throw it as hard as you can. And then look, you're gonna keep your rod tip low and look how fast I'm reeling. That's all as fast as you gotta reel. And then when he bites it, you're gonna know, okay? Like we said, guys, one of the techniques we're using is throwing swim baits. And I'll tell you what I enjoy about throwing swim baits and artificial lures is that it's rod and hand fishing. So with the kiddos, it keeps them engaged. They're throwing the rod, reeling it in, retrieving. And when you feel that bite, man, I'll tell you that I don't think there's anything better. I don't think there's anything that gets kids hooked on fishing more than either watching that float go underneath or feeling that fish really tug on it. So what we have here, I'm gonna show you how we rig our 4.5-inch swim baits. Pretty simple. I'm a big fan of these gummies right here, swim bait hooks. They're 1/2 ounces on a nice stout 5/0 hook. They have the twist lock system on there, which I could take or leave the twist lock system. I'm a little bit Pacific Northwest, so I'm good with the lead collars. But what we're gonna do when you thread one of our swim baits is we're gonna put the head in, line it up along the side, and I know our 4.5 with this hook, that hook should come out right behind our fin, our dorsal fin. I'm gonna take it right through the middle of the swim bait. There's a lateral line, so I'm gonna make sure that hook stays right down the middle of that lateral line, and I'm gonna make sure it stays right down the back seam of that swim bait to keep it perfectly straight. So if you zoom in here, show you exactly what I mean. So you want to keep that hook on right down that middle, all the way down. And I'm also going to watch that hook in the middle of the bait, and right, watch that point, and I'm going to bring it out right in the middle, right behind that dorsal fin, just like slow, and your bait's going to look like such. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it on there, and I'm going to give her 2 twists all the way around. You bring your entire tail around the hook. There's 1. There's 2. Push that on there nice and tight. Give this a nice little stretch. Elongate it just like so. What's really cool is our dorsal fin kind of hides that hook, so when you get a finicky fish, you could be a little more precise. And all we're going to do is we're going to take that and we tie direct to our 65-pound braid, send it, and you guys saw it in action.
This is just great swim bait and minnow water. If you were a minnow, it'd be a good spot to hide. So that's where they'll lay for it. Good wiggler. Good one to catch on.
Right. You got it.
Got it, kid.
There's another one right there, corner.
There you go, back rod.
Finally, Grandpa got some dinner. Grampy got some dinner. Sorry, Pa.
Nice work. There you go.
Got one in the. Got one, Jackson.
Finally, Grampy got one.
Alright, let's go over our bait technique, our live bait technique. Setup, I should say, not so much the technique, but the setup. Nice low profile reels. I got 65-pound test line on here. You can do 50, 65. I think it's all fine. Just any time that you're gonna load a level line with braid, you have to make sure it's a thick enough braid to where it doesn't want to cut into itself when you get a fish pulling on it really, really hard, or you get a snag. Okay, so 50, 65-pound test line. I'm a big fan of these Lexa Daiwas. This one right here in particular is the 300 model. Got a line counter on there. We got it on an Edge mag here on the HSR. This is the 7113, so kind of their medium range power, 7'1" rod. Nice soft tip, so when a fish bites it, they don't feel that tension of the rod. But once that rod leans all the way over and that tension from the bite gets into the middle of the rod, the backbone of the rod actually does the hook setting for you, so therefore you don't have to hook set. So really, really nice rod option there. Come down, I always put a colored bead on top on the main line. Now what we have is our line lock slider. This line lock slider, what it is, it's a custom piece of terminal tackle that we make. The functionality of it, number one, it allows your weight to slide up and down just in case you get that weight stuck in the net when you're fighting a fish, no big deal. And then we come down to, we clip on about a 16-inch, 18-inch dropper with a swivel on there. We adjust our lead weight anywhere from ½ ounce to a couple ounces depending on the depth of water we're in and the amount of flow that we have. Then we come down to a swivel, we tie it to a swivel. Here's what's really cool about our line lock. Our line lock, in addition to being a weight slider, comes down and locks into the eye of this swivel here. Now for this live bait fishery, it's not a big deal, but anytime that you have a lure down here spinning, what happens is that weight positions that line lock to stop all that twist right into that swivel, opposed from going up your braided line, because you do not want twisted braided line, trust me. Okay, so that's the purpose of our line lock. Come down, we got a 4-foot leader, 12 pounds. So number one, Gamakatsu #1 octopus hook. And this is really cool because a lot of these ties and a lot of these leaders, they transfer into our fisheries that we have in our Northwest. That's just our steelhead leader that I use for a yarn ball or a big bead. Same exact thing, or a rubber worm. Our line lock is something we use for heck, every fishery that we do is we use a line lock. And then this is just like anchor fishing salmon or shad or steelhead in fast water back home. So anyways guys, that's how we set up our live bait. We'll show you how to pop a minnow on there. We bounce it back into position and wait for them to fold over. All right guys, we're talking about the two methods we're using. Very, very simple techniques. We have throwing swim baits, and we're also putting minnows out. Or golden shiners, what they call them in California, I suppose. A small little mouth. Okay, we're gonna use a #1 Gamakatsu octopus hook. If you look at the bottom of the jaw, it's almost like a little U shape. And even on the human, you got right here, right on the side. That's where we're gonna go in. And we're gonna come out the same side nostril. Just on the tip, you see that? I'm gonna put it in the water. I'm gonna swim.
Can you see it?
Pretty naturally there. And we're just gonna back them down into the slot. Nice little ledge we're sitting on. And wait for those rods to fold over. Good looking gal right there. Put it back. Go make more babies so we come back, catch more. Huh guys?
Good work, brother.
It's a side guy?
No, a tiny guy.
You think it's a tiny guy? Why is he running way out here then? Control your fish.
I don't know.
Here, come here.
It's not tiny.
He's not tiny. He's the opposite of tiny. His name is Taco.
Come here, Taco.
Taco. Yeah, we got Taco.
Yeah, that's right.
We're saluting.
Get up and come back there, homie. No way, dude. I got it. Control your fish. Go underneath, over the top. Banjo minnow. We'll see how this goes.
Grab that other rod there and just slide it down.
Younger brother, you gotta keep him under your thumb at all times, no matter how big he gets. No matter how much bigger he is than you. Gotta keep the younger brother under the thumb. Oh. Did you just lose him? Dude. He broke you off like a chump. Broke you off like a buster. Come on, cat.
I'll get him.
Get it.
What?
I'll get him.
Oh, I thought you said you lost him. I was like, oh.
No, I'll get him. Don't you worry.
Come on, Dad. Show us in his box. I don't want the fish tuck. Come to Papa.
More full line out. More full line out.
What's a heavy guy?
Photo over there.
This photo ops, man, to the superstar.
How come you get the big one?
Fish.
Come on. Meet you on the home front.
Yep. Yeah, now we get it out too.
Yeah, you guys are looking it out also. All right, guys, that wraps up our trip, man. I hope you guys had a good time. I know we did. I'll tell you, when I first started guiding, I'm in year 15 now.
Yeah.
Which is still young in comparison to Dan here. Dan's in year 30?
30 years. Yeah.
30 years. So we've been doing this twice as long as I have. But first or second year I ever started guiding, I reached out to Dan. We were fishing below Bonneville for summer Chinook or something. Reached out to Dan. Was trying to get my product out there, talking to people. And Dan was one of the only guys, number one, that picked up the phone. But number two, most importantly, that always sticks out with me, he's like, hey, come jump in the boat, we'll go fishing. I can tell you exactly where we're fishing. I can tell you exactly what plug we caught a fish on. and it was just kind of a special moment for me. I still fish that spot, but it just tells you a lot about Dan and his guide service and the way he operates, not only in the boat, not only in the field, but just as a human being. So when you come out with Dan, you're gonna have a good time. It is a low pressure environment, not overly intense about missing fish, catching fish. It's just a really good, wholesome environment where I got my kids, my family out, and I don't gotta worry about anything because I know Dan's gonna take care of them. So Dan, I've always appreciated you, man. Still do. Tell everyone what you do, what your seasons are, what you have to offer.
Well, I used to fish year-round. Now that kids are grown and it's not as mandatory, I basically fish here 2 months in the spring, April and May. Head back down to the Columbia River, up to the Columbia River, and I'll fish that from July, June, July, August, September-ish, whenever they cut us off on salmon.
Yeah.
And then it's time to go hunting.
It's time to go hunting. That's what we all do, right? Just come October by. So striped bass starting in beginning of April.
Yep.
Striped bass, April, May. Then we go up to the Columbia River, you do catch and release sturgeon. They're in the estuary in Astoria. Great fishery there. It's all catch and release, but a lot of big fish, powerful fish, great fight. And then straight into August 1st, we 10.
That's it.
You know, our salmon fishery. So awesome. Good time. Always a good time, man. Seriously.
Kids did great. They're always welcome in my boat, man.
That's right. That's 2 years in a row for us, and we're going to do it again next year. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you're seeing, you like what you're learning, you like what we're doing, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll make sure we take care of you.